Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to give you 10 things that you definitely didn't know about me. Alright, so you're probably not new here, but just in case you are, I'm Claire, and if you really haven't seen any of my other videos, then you definitely don't know anything about me. So this will all be brand new information. But if you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back and supporting me. I've gotten sort of an influx of new subscribers, so welcome all of you lovely humans. Come on in, make yourselves comfortable, and get ready to learn some stuff. I have made 2 other videos like this in the past, and they're getting a lot harder to do because I share everything. So it's like really hard for me to find like 10 things that you don't already know about me. But I tried really hard to come up with some, and they might surprise you. But I love watching this kind of stuff, and it really helps me get to know some of my favorite YouTubers a little better. So let's get right into it. 10 things you didn't know about me. Number 1, you might know this, but you might be wondering what it is, and we're gonna address it today, and that is this giant pore on my cheek. So it started in high school when I just had like this little pore, and I would try to keep it really clean. And over time, through hormone changes and growing up, it just gets bigger and bigger. And I know it has a name, I can't remember the name of it, but it's always empty. And after I like clean it really well, it looks like somebody has shot me in the face with a BB gun. I mean, you can see that. There are some videos where I look back on and I'm like, oh my God, how is nobody asking me about that giant hole in my face? It's a pore, and I need to see a dermatologist. I've talked to some people like who've had this done, and they basically have to like cut it off and like sew my skin together. But because of like COVID and everything, I'm not gonna go to the doctor for something that isn't like necessary. So if you're ever watching my videos and thinking like, does Claire have a random dermal piercing there? I don't. It's a giant wonky pore because my body is a wonderland. Number 2, it seems that in these like get to know me videos, I always like to include like whatever my guilty pleasure TV show is. And right now, ooh, it is Married at First Sight. I binged that so hard that like I'm very involved in these people's lives. I follow them all on Instagram. I'm super excited about the new season. The last season was so crazy because it was like during quarantine, and I can't imagine being married to someone like at first sight that you don't know, and like having to go through like what we went through last year. And anyway, I love it. So leave me a comment down below if you're a Married at First Sight fan and like who your all-time favorite couple is. The number 3 thing, if you know me in real life, then you'll know this, and that is I have a very vulgar mouth. And you might not realize that if you watch me, because obviously I'm not going to swear on my channel. I want this to be appropriate for everybody to watch, and I want everyone to feel comfortable here. But in my real life, I use a bit of profanity all the time. Like 90% of it though is probably in my car. I am very bad at yelling profane things at people who can't hear me in their other cars. And I thought that when I became a parent that I might maybe stop that, and it has slowed down a bit. I don't say things like really terrible, but I do swear in front of my kids, and they have not picked this up. The way we kind of explain it is that these are grown-up words, and when you're a grown-up, you get to decide how and when to use them. The number 4 thing you didn't know about me, this is probably gonna be ridiculous to you guys, but okay, so I've been a vegetarian for like over a year and a half now, like not tempted in any way, really like committed to this life change. And this was like a couple weeks ago. There's this new place in town that has like vegetarian, it's like a Mexican restaurant, but they have soy chorizo. So I was like, yes, I can get some good Mexican food with fake meat in it. Like I was really excited. And they also had potato empanadas. So I ordered a potato empanada. I got home, I'm really excited. I take a big old bite in it, I chew it and swallow it, and I'm like, oh my God, that was a chicken empanada. They gave me a chicken empanada. I didn't even think to like open it and look at it first. And like, obviously anyone, especially if you're a vegan and you don't eat any animal products, like it happens. Like it will happen eventually, and it's not a big deal. It doesn't hurt you. It's like not a huge deal. But in that moment, it was so embarrassing. I started crying. Johnny was like, it's okay. It's like not a big deal. It was an accident. And it made me feel so guilty. I felt like, okay, so I used to be a smoker, like way back before I was a mom. I was kind of a party girl and I smoked cigarettes a lot. And eating that bite of chicken made me feel like I accidentally smoked a cigarette. I felt so guilty. The number 5 thing about me, I thought I would share with you guys my 23andMe sort of update. I did a video on this when we got this done many years ago. It was like one of my first videos, so over 3 years ago. And it turns out that they update it all the time as they get more information about populations of people. So I have just been sent the like most accurate possible pinpointed 23andMe, and I thought I would let you guys know that I am 70% German, which is crazy. Like, how many white people do you know in America that are that much one thing? Like, we're all so blended that I just couldn't believe I was that German. Especially because neither of my parents are like from Germany, and none of my grandparents are directly from Germany. So interestingly enough, that my super German mom and my super German dad found each other, and neither of them are really connected to their German roots in any way, but still. So I'm like super German, and then I'm about 20% English Irish and 10% Polish. And I thought that was really interesting, and I got that Polish result because my mom ended up doing a 23andMe, which the more relatives that get it done, like the more precise information they can give you. So I never knew that I was Polish at all. No one in the family has ever talked about anything Polish. So I think that's super interesting. That's from my mom's side. And also maybe, and tell me if you think this is weird, but I feel like a really deep connection with Berlin. And on my little map, Berlin was like the number 2 like ancestral pinpointed place that my people are from. So like, I always wondered if like I have some sort of ancestral connection with Berlin, and that is why it's my favorite city. The number 6 thing, I've kind of hinted at this and talked about it a bit before, but that was that my son Fox was technically a surprise baby. So I always knew I wanted to be a mom, but when I was 15, I was diagnosed with PCOS, or polycystic ovarian syndrome. The doctor I had at the time was very much like, you'll never have babies, you need to lose weight. If you have PCOS, you've definitely run into a doctor like this who was like, well, just exercise and lose weight and maybe this wouldn't happen to you. You know, it's, for some reason, that's a thing. So I, as a teenager, really developed this mindset that having children would be very difficult for me. It would mean IVF, it would mean IUIs, it would mean Clomid, it would mean some sort of intervention. So when Gianni and I got together, I was actually on birth control, but after we'd been together a couple years, we just were like, hey, it might take us a decade to have a baby. So why don't we just get off the birth control and see what happens? And then like a day later, I got pregnant for Fox, and I had no idea. Like, no doctor had ever told me that like infertility doesn't affect all people with PCOS, and like that all these other factors were in there. So yeah, I was shocked. It's interesting that I'm saying this because it's Super Bowl Sunday today. I found out I was pregnant on my way to a Super Bowl Sunday party. I hadn't gotten my period. I was feeling sick, and I was like, I definitely don't want to go to a party if I'm pregnant. And we never thought it would happen. We never thought that it would happen. And I took a pregnancy test, and we lost our minds, because this was a time where I was just still like partying and living my life and stuff. And we were like, all right, we gotta get ourselves together. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me and my husband. I mean, it all worked out the way it was supposed to be, but we could not believe that my body actually worked. All right, number 7, I think I've kind of grazed over this a bit, but I thought I would really just come out and say it. And that is that I have suffered from disordered eating for basically my entire life. I grew up in a house that was extremely centered around diet culture, like all day, every day kind of stuff. And as an adult, I can look back at that time and realize that it wasn't really like the fault of my parents. Everyone was just trying to do what they thought was right. And if you've been swept up into diet culture, which all of us have at one point or another, you know that it's hard to know when it's a problem and when it's not. So I was really very much raised in it. And it wasn't until I actually had a baby that really gave me a better relationship with my body. And even though I'm like larger now than I've ever been in my entire life, I definitely have been able to find appreciation and happiness with my body because I carried 2 children. So I know that's weird. A lot of women really hate their bodies after they have babies, but it kind of really helped me in a lot of ways. I struggle with weight cycling. like yo-yo dieting, going up and down and up and down. Basically, you can look at my whole life in these cycles of like 30 to 50 pound cycles. And it can be really taxing and really difficult for me. And right now, that's why I'm trying to transition to maybe adding more chicken, but it's really hard for me to make dietary changes and not trigger my disordered eating. So I'm trying to be really careful about it. I'm looking into intuitive eating, and I think that might be something I can do. Anytime I start counting, things go south really quickly. All right, my next little tidbit for you is that I hate mayonnaise to the point where it's like a fear/phobia. Like, I hate it. Very recently, I decided I loved my husband enough to make him a sandwich with mayonnaise on it, and it like took everything within my being, and it was Miracle Whip. It wasn't even real mayonnaise to make that sandwich for him, and it really was a big deal. He was very proud of me and very thankful. But I decided it stemmed from way back when I was a kid. I had head lice when I was in like elementary school, and the thing to do back then was to cover your head in mayonnaise, put a shower cap on, and sleep with it and wash it out the next day. And I feel like that really triggered this feeling I have about mayonnaise. So I don't know, if you got a story like that, leave it down below. Do you hate a specific condiment for no like real strong reason? I don't know. Number 9, this one is totally weird if you watch my videos, because you'd never think in a million years that I used to be a chronic nail biter. Like, to the point where they were gross, bloody, painful little stumps on my hands, and I never thought in a million years that I would change. It's very much was just a habit that I could not break, and then I quit smoking, and I thought, well, now I'm never gonna quit biting my nails. But trauma works in mysterious ways. So you may or may not know that Fox, my oldest son, was a NICU baby. I had a very traumatic birth. I will leave that video down below if you want to hear the whole story. It's kind of tough for me to just like bring up, but if you want to watch me cry about that, I will leave it down below. But when you go into the NICU, you have to scrub in, like, in order to go in. So like all the way up to your elbows, you have to like scrub for like 30 seconds. You have to like clean off all your electronics, like all that kind of stuff. It's really, really serious in the NICU. And you get this little wooden stick, and you have to clean under your fingernails when you scrub in. So because I was having to scrub in 10 times a day, going in and out, seeing my son, bringing people in, like for the whole time he was in the NICU, I started using this stick under my nails, and it started being comforting. This is so crazy now to say this out loud, because this is a very strange sort of response to the trauma that I was feeling, and it made me stop biting my nails. Every time I went in to scrub in to see him in his little box, I was cleaning under my nails, and I have never bit them since the moment he was born, ever again. And I let them get really long. Right now, they're kind of short for me, but they're really long and strong and beautiful and healthy, and just a very weird outcome from that. That's not something I would expect. Number 10, this kind of goes back into my 23andMe little tip, and that is I almost moved to Germany. I was very, very close to doing that. I started visiting my friend who was an exchange student here back when I was like 16. I went to Berlin, I met more people, I went back, I met more people, I had a whole network there. I had my 18th birthday party in Berlin where like I invited all my friends, and like I really knew my way around the city, and I had this network of people, and I was like, I gotta go, like I gotta live here. This is my place. And I had gone to grooming school, and I was going to see if I could get in at a grooming salon and just try to learn the language and try to get going on it. And then I fell in love with my roommate, and I just couldn't leave, and I don't regret it at all. I'm really happy that I have Gianni and that we have this beautiful family. And even though I only live a couple miles from the home I grew up in that my parents still live in, I definitely don't feel like I'm rotting away in my hometown. And I'm really happy that I did get the chance to really travel when I was young. And like I said, we have a trip planned next spring so that my husband can finally see the city that I hold so dear in my heart. But yeah, there was a really big chance there that I was gonna go. I was making the preparations, but love got in the way. All right, you guys, those are 10 things that I'm like so sure you didn't know about me. If you knew any of these, let me know. And if you were surprised by any of them, let me know that too. I hope you all have a fantastic week, and I will see you in my next video, which are on Fridays and Sundays. So make sure, if you just like lurk on my videos but haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that. You're welcome here. It's totally cool. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.